Yo, what's up, ladies? This is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to release your personality. This talk is specifically made for women who feel like they can't really be themselves. This happens a lot, and I see it very often. Like when I'm walking around in the city, you see people's faces, and you can see that they're jaded. You can see that they have this aura of giving up. They walk around the city and they walk around like this, like just fucking like afraid and shit, right? Like they're always in their heads. They're not present in the moment. And so when you talk to them, you sense that blockage. You sense that inhibition. Particularly when you do what I do, and you gotta practice exposing yourself and meeting other people. You see it often, people who are inhibited, right? And when they talk to someone who's not inhibited, that gives them the permission to be confident, and you can see them like loosen up and all that sort of stuff. Now, part of it is because they're talking to a stranger, a sexy stranger, but it, but for the most part, it's because most people's personality is inhibited. They don't know who they really are. Their personality is more based on reaction to their environment. So some people are lucky and they have a good environment, and their personality flourished. Lucky. Most people's personality are not proactive, which is they actively they actively mold their personality to their own will. And this is something that can be done if you know how to do it. All right. So one of the first thing is okay. I know I always say this, but the first thing, you gotta have a vision of how you want to be. You want to have a vision of how you want your personality to be, how you want people to react to you, how you want people to talk to you, how you want people to interact with you, how do you want to feel around them, and notice how people is reacting to you. That's the first thing. Have a vision of how you want to be, how you want to act, and how you want people to react to you, because it's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful personality. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you gotta have a good personality, because if you don't have a good personality, like you can't give people enough for the kid feels, you know what I'm talking about? No, I'm kidding with you. Well, seriously though, you gotta have a good personality. Doesn't mean a personality that's like pleasant. That's part of it, but that's not entirely. A good personality is more of a personality that's free, that's uninhibited, that's like loose, and that's expressive. That doesn't mean that person is free of fault, but that person is less inhibited. They're more free. There's not a lot of blockage in their system. All right, and a lot of people have blockages because they're holding on to the past. They're talking to someone, and they emotionally remember. When I mean emotionally, it's not that they have a conscious recollection, but it's more of an emotional recollection of people judging them by being themselves. For example, I remember a couple years ago, when I used to be a social worker. This kid told me that hey man, again, they don't know about this, right? This kid told me that his mom, that he once had a good relationship with his mom, right? But as soon as he began, like, they had a bad relationship, right? And everything was bad until one day his mom started being very friendly to him. She began being interested in what he started doing. She began watching his movies, right? And then one day, because of that, he felt comfortable. He started to feel comfortable, and then he was like, "Yo, man, that's a good fucking movie." And she was like, "What? What do you mean, good fucking movie?" And immediately, as soon as she said that, boom, down went his openness to her, and it went back to how it was in the past. So what he told me, that he felt bad because he felt that he could be himself, but as soon as he began being himself, he got punished. And so he went back in his own little pigeonhole of his personality, whose barriers are made out of judgment and shame. Oh, I don't want to do this because I don't want people to judge me. Or I don't want to do this because I don't want this to happen. So expressing yourself became a painful event. You associate pain with expressing yourself, and you associate pleasure, not because of pleasure because you're expressing yourself, but pleasure because of the aversion of pain with not expressing yourself. So you said to yourself, you know what? Let me conserve my sense of self and shut the fuck up. Okay. And not just shut the fuck up, but let me not do this and let me not pursue this passion because I want my parents' validation. I want people's validation. So the whole personality is not really them. They think they're themselves, but they're not. That's why people feel uncomfortable with themselves. So this video is about this. And I believe I believe personally, and I believe I'm one of the best teachers because this is something that I went through. Now, dating coaches for men, they know this shit, man. They got this shit down fucking packed, you know. But for the most part, with teaching women, this is something that you have to experience. And one of the best ways to experience is to learn how to pick up women. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of coaches that do that. That actually immerse themselves in the process as deep as I did in the women's department. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. So let's get started. So we all have a good personality, the uninhibited self that we were born with. But as you grew up, you became jaded. Boundaries were set. So as children, we were all happy children, right? We were all good kids. We all had a good. Some of you guys were evil motherfuckers, but we were all good kids. We were ourselves. We saw someone and we went up to them and said, "Can I be your friend?" Right? And then until people started telling us what to do, telling us don't do this and don't do that. It's not just because they told you not to do this, but they made you feel shame. They made you feel embarrassment for stepping out of their comfort zone. All right? So everybody had a good personality. As children, human default mode is happiness. Yeah, kids come out bitching and crying, right? But the default mode of human beings is peace, right? Because when you're a child, you have no personality. Yeah, you may have some genetic things that may arise. You may be an angry kid, right? But generally speaking, kids are peaceful. So that's a general personality that now out of that might emerges from your inner self, which is your nature, and then the nurture part. They have a synergistic effect on your personality. But the good thing about it is that unfortunately most people were affected negatively, particularly women, because they're judged more. Their sexuality is suppressed because of male security causes women's sexuality to be suppressed. So women particularly are more like that, right? That's why not a lot of women are funny. I mean, I hate to say that, but a lot of women are not that funny. You see, it's not just because men have to be funny to get women, but also because they're afraid to be themselves. Because if they're funny, they're getting attention from men that they don't want. You see, so the first thing you got to do is notice the judgments and hesitation that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Before you even try anything to be cool, before you even try to be cool, I always say this: if you smell bad, don't put cologne on top of your fucking BO. Take a shower first, which in this case is beginning to notice and becoming aware of your hesitation, becoming aware of the judgments that you give yourself. Notice the negative self-talk when you're about to express yourself. Notice the moments when you want to say something but you don't because you're afraid. Become aware of a lot of those inhibitions. That's the first thing, right? And just notice it. Notice the boundaries that you set yourself. Notice the moments when you say, that's not me. I can't do this. That's just not me. Right? Notice those things. Notice the goals you are afraid to follow. Why? Because those goals, in and of itself, by attacking those goals, it releases a certain part of you that's inherent in you. If you're someone who was born to be a leader, but you were suppressed because people wanted you to get this job because the family owned the business. You got to get this job. But deep down, you have a desire to be a leader. You have the desire to have your own company. That desire is because inside of that desire, there's a seed of who you are that was suppressed and that was hindered because of other people's expectations on you. So what you have to do is attack those fears. Now, you don't have to attack them by just by actually taking action. That's one way, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But attack them by at least fantasizing about it. Thinking about achieving that goal, thinking and just fantasizing and daydreaming about it. Most people tell you don't daydream because it's not even worth it, but I want you to actually daydream how it would be to actually follow that dream. What's going to happen is that you're going to feel some fear arise from that, and that's good because I want you to become consciously aware of that fear. I want you to ask yourself, what's going on inside of me at this moment? That's how Eckhart Tolle says. As soon as you feel that fear, ask yourself, what's going on inside of me at this moment? And you observe. And just observe. Any fear that arises, you ask yourself, am I trying to feel better right now? And observe. Don't look with, okay, this. No. Just observe. And then ask yourself, what happens if I stop trying to feel better? And see. Those fears, like I always say this, just like a drug, you're going to become immune to it. You're going to grow tolerance. So because of that fear that was hesitating you, that fear also expands to other areas, right? Think about it, like it expands to other areas. So now suddenly, just because you became aware of that fear and observed it and dissolved it through bringing conscious awareness to it and also fantasizing, daydreaming about that fear, about achieving that goal that's underneath that fear, it releases a part of you. You feel uninhibited, you feel light. Another way to do it is attack fears by experiencing them. Like I said, rather than experiencing them reactively, experience them proactively. Put yourself in situations where you know you fear, and say to yourself, I'm going to use this as a spiritual practice. That's what I did with pickup. I used pickup like a spiritual practice, like a motherfucker, man. Like I said to myself, you know what, man? I want to get pussy, all right? But at the same time, there's something that I fear. I fear approaching women. So let me just use this as a spiritual practice. I'm approaching women. Fuck, I'm afraid. Observe the pain. Observe the fear. Observe. Notice it. Notice the breath as you're talking to a woman. Notice it. Don't think about going for the kiss, but rather think about getting rejected 3 times. And what tends to happen is that because of that expands to your other areas. And I'm telling you, attacking that fear of pickup is what pretty much did everything for me. It just broke every wall. And that's because I had that fear. Now, everyone's fear is different. You see what I'm saying? And you got to attack it. That fear is an inhibition you fear when you want to express yourself, when you want to talk to your boss about getting a raise, you want to do this, when you want to do that. You see? So proactively put yourself in those situations. So write down things that you're afraid of to do. Write them down. And even when you're writing it down, you feel a hesitation, observe that hesitation. Ask yourself, am I trying to feel better right now? And observe it. And be conscious of that. Better yet, anytime you feel fear, write down the physical sensations of your fear. I actually bought this because I'm using this as a way to write down my fears. I mean, not write down my fears, but write down my physical experience of fear and pain. So what I do, for example, I feel fear. Boom. Okay. I write down my chest feels tight. My muscles feel tight. I feel a warmth emotion in my stomach. My chest feels warm. The back of my neck feels stiff. And then you begin to notice that the fear is not fear, but rather they're just physical sensations that you're experiencing at one time, but calling it a metaphysical experience. But rather, it's a physical experience. And when you expose it as this physical experience, you don't fear it no more. Think about it. It's like meeting someone new, right? You think they're cool until you actually get to know them. Once you see things as they are, you're not afraid of them. You're not intimidated about them. If you see Leonardo DiCaprio, well, maybe Leonardo DiCaprio, who knows, I'll be afraid. But if you meet Leonardo DiCaprio, suddenly if you talk to him for 10 days in a row, you're going to say, oh, he's just Leo. Because you know him, you're experiencing him. But so the same thing with fears. Once you notice by bringing conscious awareness to the physical sensations of your fear, that it's a physical sensation, just a few tension here, tension there, tension here, tension here. You start noticing, oh, this is just a physical sensation. It's not me, right? So hone in on the emotion of fun. That's another thing that you could do. Constantly ask yourself, how can I have fun right now? How can this be fun? How can I have fun here? How can I have fun there? You're talking to a guy and the date is going wrong. Ask yourself, how can I have fun? You're talking to your mom and she's being a bitch. Ask yourself, how can I have fun right now without disrespecting her? You're on your job and you're bitching. How can I have fun? Why? Because having fun releases your personality. Children have fun. When you have fun, you're being yourself. You don't think too much. You see what I'm saying? So consistently asking yourself, how can you have fun, will take you towards yourself. Use pain in your life and attack the pain by observing it. The observance will liberate you because you were trying to avoid it. When you feel pain can come in different forms. Pain of being judged, pain of being criticized, and that pain of being criticized causes you to uninhibit yourself because you don't want to experience that pain, so you don't say nothing. So what I want you to do then is to notice anytime you feel certain kind of pain and certain kind of inhibition and observe it. Because by observing it, it liberates you, because in the past you tried to suppress it. And that suppression came in the form of your current personality because you became used to suppressing yourself. You see, you became used to suppressing yourself, so it became part of your personality. Repetition makes it part of who you are. So another one is if you're shy, be extroverted and don't be afraid to fuck up. Actually try to fuck up. Actually try to talk too much. Actually try to be the one who people say you talk too much. If you're overly shy. Why? Because if you're overly shy, you want to go the other extreme. Just so that you can experience the other extreme and you can become calibrated. Even if you think you're going too far, if you're an overly shy person, you're really not. You just want to experience that and get the feedback. You're overly shy here, then suddenly you go to the other side. You're like, oh fuck, this is too far. Let me go back. A little too far. Wait a minute. Right here. This happens when I'm talking to women and I was learning how to to change the topic. And if you're an overly social, learn how to be okay with not talking and slowing down. I'm someone who talks a lot, right? So when I was learning pickup, I said to myself, okay, I know how to make the girl laugh. I know how to talk a lot. I know how to have a good conversation, but somehow they're not calling me back. So what I did, I was like, you know what? Let me shut the fuck up. And that's where the tactic of silence and pausing and speaking slower came about. So I said to myself, okay, let me not say much about myself. Actually, let me not even say. Let me try to redirect every question she asks about me to her. So it began where I was talking less, I was saying less, I wasn't answering all of the questions, but I was redirecting the questions about me to her. And so what happened was she experienced good emotions because she was talking about herself, but she couldn't find anything about me because I didn't talk much about me. But she felt good about me. She didn't know why. She just felt good, but she couldn't find a conscious recollection of who I am. So what happens? You become a mystery. So I did that by slowing down, by when I talk a lot, don't talk a lot and see what happens and experiment. And then you're going to find that sweet spot. All right. Yeah. And I tell you, I'm telling you, like, uninhibiting yourself is noticing the moments of pain, the moments of hesitation and experiencing them at a conscious level. And when because most of the time you don't experience them at a conscious level because you don't want to, because it feels awkward. It's shitty. Right. So what I want you to do is just experiencing them. I'm telling you, you don't have to do nothing. Once you uninhibit yourself, then you could try other tactics. But before doing anything, you have to uninhibit yourself. You have to release your personality. Everyone has a nice personality, but people are jaded. People are afraid to be themselves because of past pain of expressing themselves. You see, let me tell you something, man. The older you grow, the more that's going to be part of your personality. You gotta do it now. You have to do it now. If you're 40 years old, fuck that shit. Do it now. If you're 50, fuck that shit. Do it now. If you're 80, fuck that shit. Do it now. Don't go to the nursing home with a fucking inhibited personality. All right? I want you to get some dick in the nursing home. Motherfuckers are freaks, man. In the nursing home, man, I'm like, yo, aren't you supposed to be dead? You're getting more pussy than I am, bro. Oh man, I imagine there's like a pimp old guy in the nursing home. He's like, yeah, I get all the pussy. Yeah, I'm getting so much pussy here, man. Like you go to a nursing home and you see your side piece and their kids and you look at them and you're like, yeah, I tapped that earlier. Anyways, it's Alex from attraction.org. I'm doing a 2-day special for today and tomorrow where I'm gonna be giving one-on-one sessions for half off. So it's from $200 for 30 minutes. It's gonna be $100 for 30 minutes. Just go to mindfulattraction.org. It's gonna be for only 2 days. That's it. I'm telling you. Look, man. Don't ask next time. Don't you ask after the 2 days. I'm telling you. I'm gonna say no, motherfucker. I'm gonna say no. All right. So go to mindfulattraction.org/coach in the pocket, and you can request me there. But the half off is not for the coach in the pocket clients. Only for one-on-one one time. All right. Anyways, have a good day and bye-bye. Take care.